All right, welcome back to Lockdown Sports. Liverpool versus Man City, the test of the true two potential champions. Yes, that's right. It's a two-horse race, ladies and gentlemen. I don't care who's sitting in first or second. I don't even have the guts to look at the ladder these days. When you talk about these two teams, they're going to tell you about how both teams have been so amazing offensively. All right. But defensively, that's where I want to start the conversation this week. All right. I've got 3 points. The first is, which team do you guys think is the better defense? All right. Liverpool have conceded 2 less goals, 26-28 so far this season. And then you look at the XG. Sorry, I'll just whisper. Say it quietly. All right. The XG. And Man City have conceded 8 less goals expectedly compared to Liverpool. And that's a big disparity, right? That talks to the brilliance of Alisson Becker, but it also talks to, like we saw this past weekend, Anthony Elanga and many forwards, that I could accuse of match fixing against this Liverpool side. And the story about these two teams defending. Liverpool defends man-to-man a lot of the time, and it's a lot about individual pieces of brilliance. Not only Alisson, but you'll see Virgil van Dijk, VVD. Yes, he's worthy of, a little nickname. And what Virgil van Dijk does, I don't want to focus on this too long because it pains me to say, but he's a great defender, all right? He covers for Trent. He'll cover for Robertson. He'll cover for the lack of midfield options defensively these days. You don't have the luxury of Fabinho, Wijnaldum, and Jordan. You don't have the luxury of Jordan Henderson is not something that I wanted to say, but yeah, you don't have it anymore. So that's the side of the game for Liverpool that is explored by the personnel that is Virgil van Dijk. And then you see the flip side, what is a team defense, all right? Yes, you have Ruben Diaz, excellent in the box at defending, but how they line up as a shape, all right? You've played FIFA, you set all the way back, but they do the exact opposite. Their fullbacks pop into midfield. It's a very invincible shape, all right? That 3-2, and I've always thought you could break out at it, all right? I've watched Adama Traore do it, but over time, those Adama Traore moments that have been Man City's weakness have been nullified by this shape, by the personnel sitting in this block, all right? It is halfway up the pitch. You can do that, Manchester United fans, but you can actually sustain a good defensive record this way. All right, point number 2. How does Man City actually hold the ball against this Liverpool team? Now, I was a little bit curious, all right? I looked through the stats and I was hoping to find something. And to cut a long story short, I didn't find it, all right? I was thinking, surely against the best pressing team in the Premier League, Manchester City would surrender a bit more possession, but still, in this post-Haaland era, all right, you look at Manchester City's average possession this season, they were able to maintain that in the last 3 Premier League fixtures, all right, getting at least 60% possession, all right? And where is the ball being held then becomes a question. If City is always going to have the ball against you, where are you going to keep it? And what I like to call these guys are the dormant City players, all right? Nathan Ake, John Stones, Ruben Diaz, Kyle Walker, and Edison, sure. He does think he's an outfielder these days. But these are the guys, obviously in the back line, most of them. But John Stones is someone I noticed. Yes, they did beat us with how much they dominated the game. But every time one of these 5 guys has the ball, you are not worried. You are not worried by what they're going to do. You're worried about who they're going to get the ball to. And that's the question, all right? When Manchester City has been a bad team, it's because certain guys have not been able to respond. So the question is, can Jeremy Doku, can Julian Alvarez, can at times Bernardo Silva this season step up to the plate? Because what is happening now with this Manchester City team, with how defensive it's become with 4 or 5 centre-backs on the pitch, you're seeing the question on these attacking players double, triple down, all right? That individual brilliance in the final third, it's only really Haaland that can generate that sort of goal threat. Everyone else is a little bit more iffy, apart from Haaland and Foden, of course. All right, and our last point about this Liverpool team. All right, we've talked enough about City, and we're going to talk about City next week with the Arsenal game. This is a huge run of fixtures, so make sure you stay locked in, first of all. Now, with this Liverpool team, all right, they've been doing something spectacular, and that is winning games without Mohamed Salah, without Alisson Becker, and occasionally without Robertson and Trent Alexander-Arnold. Now, you look at on-off numbers. In other sports, like basketball, on-off numbers are great. All right? In football, it's not amazing. But I will just show you for reference. This is the XG with and without Liverpool having Mohamed Salah. Now, over the past 4 or 5 years, it doesn't take a genius to realize that Liverpool create better, more chances with him on the pitch. Now, where the question lies for me is how have they been able this season to do this without Mo Salah over the past month? How are they creating these chances? All right, Connor Bradley has stepped up, new kid, right back. Trent regen, as Trent is still under 25. He's got a fucking regen. You've got guys like Nunez, obviously being a goal threat just with the runs that he makes. You've got Cody Gakpo, you've got guys step up, and Diogo Jota as well before his injury. But the key over the past month has been, for me, Alexis McAllister. Now, he's playing a little bit higher up. We saw him at the start of the season play defensive midfield, but he's been key in getting guys like Virgil involved off set pieces, in getting guys like Salah involved in open play. There's a lot he does in controlling the tempo of the game and still being a threat. We talk about control and chaos, the two sides of being a Premier League midfielder, and he is perfectly, encapsulating those elements. And we saw at the start of the season, he was playing as a 6 because Klopp couldn't get Moses Caicedo and Chelsea nabbed him. And now you see him as an 8. And this is, for me, where every one of these little multi-positional players, all right, the Pascal Grosses of the world, that is comfortable with the ball at their feet, needs to play. They need to be an 8 until they can no longer run, and that's when I'll accept them playing as a defensive midfielder, as a fullback that just gets into midfield for possession, all right? But until that day comes when Alexis McAllister can't run, we've seen him. I'll show you right now. We've seen him play everywhere for Brighton back in the day as well. He's played up front. He's played the number 10. He's played out wide. And I'm sure he could play fullback. I'm sure, guys, Kevin De Bruyne, if he played fullback for his whole career, would be the best fullback of all time. All right? You look at someone like McAllister, it's so hard to figure out where to play him. And often you just stick to the precedent of where you've seen it work out well. And it's so hard because McAllister would be great for you in so many positions. I don't think he's natural as a 6, but he's certainly able to do it at a decent level. And number 8 for me is his home. What do you think for prediction? I genuinely have no clue. Jono saying 3-2 to Liverpool? Man City? Yeah, you can't decide the fucking score before you... Look, you're talking about a Liverpool team then. If they are to win 3-2, all right, they got to score 3 goals without Mohamed Salah against one of the best... Is Salah back? Didn't play last week. Are we sure Salah's back? I don't trust this man. Show me. Well, what's the FPL percentage saying? 50. Flip a coin. Flip a coin right now. Flip a coin. All right. So there's a chance Mohamed Salah doesn't play. But if he does, Anfield, Klopp, I've talked you through it before. All right. It is so hard to win there. But I think City can do it. All right. I think we saw it last week. We're going to see it repeatedly over the next 10 weeks. All right. Manchester City know how to get this done, and I will never predict them not to win a Premier League until Pep Guardiola does us the courtesy of leaving. So stay tuned, stay locked in for more depressing Premier League football until Pep leaves. All right, stay locked in for more.